Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Energy Supply Chain Management course under the Master of Energy Management Program, University Tenaga Nasional, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all participants joining us this evening. Thank you for the time to be with us for today's ESCM Industry Insight Series. This industry sharing initiative is organized as part of the Energy Supply Chain Management course to bridge academic learning with industry practice by providing our students with insights from experienced professionals who are actively involved in Malaysia's energy sector. So today's session focus on highly relevant topic, energy supply chain management in Malaysia's electricity industry, challenges, resilience, and the energy transition. As Malaysia continues to strengthen its energy security while pursuing sustainability goals, understanding how supply chains support the electricity industry has become increasingly important. We are indeed privileged to have an industry expert who will share his practical experiences and valuable perspective with us. It is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest speaker. We're honored to welcome Muhammad Faiz Salim, current performance and at Tenaga Nasional Berhad. Muhammad Faiz has over 20 years of experience in Malaysia's energy sector and has led numerous strategic initiatives in corporate performance, strategic planning, KPI development, and regulatory management. To his current position, he served as Special Officer to the Minister of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability, where he contributed to national energy, sustainability, and climate-related initiatives. He is also a professional engineer registered with the Board of Engineers Malaysia and holds a Master of Engineering Management from University Tenaga Nasional. Ladies and gentlemen, students, all the participants, please join me in welcoming Muhammad Faiz Salim. Faiz, the virtual floor is now yours.
Okay, terima kasih Puan Nazura.
Sama.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good evening, Puan Nazura, team, and students. I believe all these are under the program of Masters in Engineering Management, yeah, Puan Nazura?
Energy Management.
Energy Management.
Engineering Management ada, MBA pun.
I see. All right.
We invited all master students.
And the audience here today, if I just would like to understand, most of you are from the electricity background? You can put your hands up if you are from the electricity and energy background. Just to want to gauge the audience mix kat sini kan, if it's possible. Okay. Most of I nampak ada 3 or 4 hands.
We have in my class, I think around 11 or 13 from PLN.
Oh, okay, interesting. And from PLN meaning working in as working professionals in PLN, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great, wonderful. Alhamdulillah, we have a good mix of participation. First of all, again, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm privileged to be here. But when Puan Nazura mentioned industry expert, I don't regard myself as an expert. But hopefully, what we can do here today is just to have a discussion, on a very important topic. Saya rasa it's just to check whether is it okay to mix BM and English, or we have to speak strictly in English?
We have international students.
International students as well. Understand. So I hope if I accidentally mention some Malay words, our friends from the international countries can pick up and understand as well. But I'll speak in English as much as possible, yeah? Again, thank you so much. As Puan Azura introduced just now, I've been working in and around industry of electricity for the past 20 years. And today, what I would like to do is a sort of discussion with all of you on, I believe you're all aware of how the industry operates, but let's have a discussion around the structure of the industry, the value chain, and the challenges that we are facing moving forward. Yeah. So let me just pull out my presentation. Okay. Just want to check whether you can see in full screen.
Yeah, in full screen.
Full screen, eh? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the title and topic given to me is energy supply chain management in Malaysia's electricity industry. So the topic is around energy supply chain, but it's specific and focused towards the situation here in Malaysia. But I hope and I believe we can relate wherever we are, because the electricity industry is quite a universal industry. I believe we can all relate to it. Yeah. And we'll talk and discuss a little bit about the challenges, the resilience that we need to bring into the industry, and the adoption of energy transition as a way of strategy moving forward. Yeah, try to bring this presentation about 45-50 minutes, and if there's question along the way, you may interview me during the presentation, or we can also have some Q&A afterwards. Yeah. Okay. What should I talk about? So, what I would like to discuss, I'll I've been given the introduction, so we can skip that one. We'll talk about the electricity value chain. I believe that this is part of your module. We'll zoom into the Malaysian electricity supply industry, or we always call it MESI, not MESSI or MESI, MESSY, but MESI, yeah? Malaysian electricity supply industry. We'll discuss on the challenges of the industry, how we could react to this by building resilience and energy transition opportunities that brings along through these challenges. Yeah. Okay. I do not want to talk much, has been discussed, but just want to say that I've started working in a coal plant actually. Yeah. I started in one of the biggest coal plant in Malaysia, in Manjong, Perak. At that time, it was the flagship plant of TNB. Yeah, it's using supercritical technology. It was the most advanced of its time, and of course, we were proud working there. Yeah, but across the decade, we've seen that more and more scrutiny and more interest is put on the climate agenda, and coal has been on the the bad part of some of the conversation. So we'll talk about this in a little while. It's important to discuss all potential fuel options. And that's why I've also had the opportunity to serve in a unit that looks into nuclear. I believe our friends in PLN is more advanced in this. We've been looking at nuclear and more advanced in that area. But TNB and Malaysia has also had at least 3 attempts to bring nuclear power online, but all 3 has not been successful in a way. Yeah, and today in the situation that we are today, we still putting the nuclear option on the table. So again, saying that we are looking into all possible action from coal, nuclear, and other renewables that could power our energy transition. Yeah. So I'll start the discussion with introduction of Malaysia's energy landscape. Yeah. So I believe we are aware that Malaysia's reliance on coal and gas is still quite high. 43% of electricity generation still comes from coal. And if I add gas here, it will be at what, 93%. Yeah, coal and gas generation is still about 93%. I'm talking from the context of Peninsular Malaysia. I have to make a caveat. When I talk about Malaysia, we'll talk a little bit more on Peninsular Malaysia, yeah, because Sabah and Sarawak has its own system which is not linked to the Peninsular Malaysia. So a little bit of caveat when I speak about Malaysia, usually it's about Peninsular Malaysia. Yeah. Renewable share of Malaysia is about 26%. Still a long way to our aim of about 70%. Yeah, by 2050. But since the past 5 years or so, more than 25 billion of investment has been put into the energy area. And this is very important to show that that's where the money is focusing on. And that's where we are putting our effort to convert and to transform the energy system. Yeah. So that's the number. Throughout this presentation today, just put into your mind that we always have to have this at the back of our mind. Yeah. The energy trilemma. I believe you've heard of this. It's a balancing act. Yeah, in that electricity production, supply, and generation is a balancing act. We have to ensure reliability. Whenever you switch on the light, wherever you are now in Bangi campus, in Unit 10 campus in Putrajaya, a power plant in Manjung will start its producing electricity and supply you to the electricity in Unit 10. So it has to be reliable. The system has to be strong and able to supply whenever and wherever we need the energy. Number one. Number two, affordability. Yeah. Electricity is a commodity that have to be accessed by all. We cannot distinguish between a person who has the right or not. Yeah, everyone has the right to electricity, so it has to be affordable and fair. Yeah, the costs have to be fair. That's the second part of the electricity. Yeah, and number three, it has to be more and more concerned of sustainability, being it must not have deteriorating effect on the environment. As it has really always been put, we are it's not our planet, right? We are only borrowing it for our children of the future. So we have to make sure that we do not pollute the earth. Yeah. So sustainability is a very important aspect as well. So again, whenever we talk about energy, electricity, always have this in mind: reliability, affordability, and sustainability, and think about ways to balance this. And throughout this presentation today, try to have this at the back of our mind, how we can always balance this as best as we can. Yeah. Okay. As we talk about electricity value chain, I believe this is the value chain that is being taught, the traditional value chain from fuel supply to the generation, transmission, distribution to the customers, be it customers from houses, industries, commercial, whatever. Yeah, so that's the normal value chain from the beginning to end. And I believe you're all aware that these are being challenged now. Yeah, the value chain as this has been called is being challenged. Yeah, so there's not necessarily today a one-way flow, but as a general value chain, this is what we are still holding on to. Yeah, from the fuel to the transmission and the customers. Yeah. So I'll talk about a lot of this anchoring on this flow. Yeah, fuel and generation, transmission, distribution, and retail. Yeah? You can see throughout the presentation later. We'll anchor a lot on this value chain. Okay. Is there any question? Because I cannot see your faces. So if there's any question, please feel free to jump in. Yeah.
Faiz, may I have a question?
Yeah, sure. Who's that?
Okay. My name is Bintang. I'm from the energy management class. So I would like to ask about the energy trilemma before that, as we all agree that balancing all three will be very difficult. Yeah. So in this regard, what choice did Malaysia will take? Is it highly deep to the reliability or the sustainability or affordability, or you pursue the three of that?
I think to answer that, there's no right answer, but I'll try to answer that as best I can. For the longest time, Malaysia, we've always focused on building a reliable system at an affordable price. We've been looking at that for the longest time. And if you can see, I will share some indexes on technical later. Our SID, our breakdown is one of the best in the world. Yeah, our investment in assets have bring us a good reliability of the system, and at the same time, our tariff in Malaysia is also among the lowest in Southeast Asia and in the world. So we've for the longest time we've always looked into reliability and affordability as the cornerstone of our energy industry. But as we understand, more and more consideration is put on environment and sustainability, and there's no moving away from that. We have to take it in our stride. Sustainability has been embedded more and more into a central of our operation and business. It's a little of a latecomer I have to admit, in TNB, but today sustainability is among the top agenda in whatever decision making that we do. So today, reliability and affordability is still if you refer to WEF issues their energy transition index, and our score in reliability and affordability is quite high. Sustainability is in the middle, not that high, but in growing higher and higher. So that's where we are today. Yeah, I hope this answers a little bit of your question.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to start before diving into Malaysia and TNB by looking at where Malaysia is in terms of ASEAN because as we know, we have colleagues from Indonesia, PLN, as well as other ASEAN countries. Bear with me, I don't have data for ASEAN countries, but I'm comparing with ASEAN. ASEAN, as we know, is a growing economy of 700 million population, GDP fourth biggest in the world. If according to the block of ASEAN, is fourth biggest in the world and is growing. So it's very important a block, very important economy. And if we see our installed capacity is growing fast at a very, very fast pace. And what I want to take your attention to is the RE share capacity. It ranges from Singapore and Brunei they are small countries, so it's a little bit challenging for them, but the rest is between 15 to even the highest of 80%. The countries in the northern of ASEAN, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, they enjoy a lot of hydro potential, sun, and also wind. So those four countries enjoy higher RE potential, higher RE penetration. For the countries nearer to us, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, our share is about in the teens to the 20s. So that's where I want to bring the attention that it's very, very important as a block to always have our backs, to look into our backs so that we can assist each other in bringing the block higher, in terms of RE capacity, RE share of capacity. So for Malaysia, today we stand about 26%, and as I mentioned, the aim is to bring this up to about 70% in 3 decades time. So how are we going to do that? So I want to start by introducing Tenaga Nasional Berhad. I hope you've heard of this before, but let me just quickly go through. So TNB is not a new corporation, new company, has been around for 76 years. Started as a government. This is before Malaysia even. 1945 is before Malaysia was formed. So Central Electricity Board has been formed even then, under Malay Federation states. It was then when Malaysia achieved its independence, it was converted into the National Electricity Board in 1965 before being privatized and become a company in 1990. So that's where the name Tenaga Nasional Berhad came about in 1990, where we were privatized. And we started with our international ventures in 2002. We had our technology in monopole 2015. We ventured into wind power in the UK, and then using the digitalization of Mighty MB apps in 2018. And in 2020, one of our subsidiaries is become one of our main arm, the generation arm becomes subsidiary, TNB Power Generation, or we call it Genco. Let me put a laser pointer, sorry, okay. And our shareholding percentage, we are owned, Tenaga is owned by mostly government agencies, yeah, EPF, the Employees Provident Fund, Khazanah Nasional under the Ministry of Finance. But more importantly, we have about 17 to, it fluctuates, about 17 to 20% of foreign shareholding, showing that we are indeed a company that is being looked at by international investors. And others are again our institutional investor in Malaysia, PNB, Corp, the pension fund, and other local and private investors. In terms of market share, we've grown to about 80 billion, yeah, in 24-25. Okay. TNB's business, again, if you remember the value changes now, that's how TNB operate. I think similar to PLN, similar to others, we are divided into operation businesses that looks into fuel supply and generation. There's a business arm that looks into grid, distribution, and retail. Yeah, so that's our bread and butter, what we focus on as an organization. But more increasingly, we are also looking into adjacent businesses. Yeah, there's potential to support the core electricity industry by doing manufacturing of transformers, yeah, manufacturing of cables. So these are all conduit to supply our grid and distribution. We also have subsidiaries that looks into utility and services. Sabah Electricity is our arm in Sabah, where it is also a mini TNB lah, yeah, in Sabah, where it also operates the full supply chain of the electricity in Sabah. Infrastructure, we have our G-Sparks, where we also offer RE and rooftop solar installation for houses. TNEC, TNB Engineering Corporation, which provides district cooling solution. Yeah? District cooling is a very important aspect where we need to be more energy efficient, and in our HVAC system. So TNBEC is one of the vehicles that we have offering this solution. And we have our ALO and REV for our cable and LAN punya focus. And of course, research and education, we have also UNITAN here, our proud university, the Energy University as we call it. And within the Edu Hub, we have research, TNB Research, and ILSAS as the training arm of Tenaga. So in all, we cover almost all the adjacent businesses that could support our core business. Yeah. Okay, let's shift gear a little bit and talk about the evolution of the Malaysia electricity supply industry. As you remember, just now I mentioned that TNB was incorporated in 1990. So that's an era where the focus was to electrify, yeah, because the electrification rate was quite low at that time, and we achieved about 94% at that particular decade. Yeah, so the focus was on reliability. If you remember again, the Trilemma, the focus very much on reliability and electrify as many houses as we can. Then comes the 1990s to 2000, where the focus on making us more efficient, more productive. So that's where privatization comes about. TNB becomes a company where the focus is on ensuring that we are cost effective and deliver value to the country. Yeah. In the decades of 2001 to 2013, a lot of focus was put into instilling good governance, whereby before that there was no regulator. Yeah, but in 2001, when I say no regulator, not meaning that there's no policeman. That there is, but not in a way that is best practice. Yeah. So in 2001, a dedicated body, a dedicated regulator was established, Suruhanjaya Tenaga, and this becomes a third party that looks into what we are doing, yeah, in terms of safety, in terms of economy, to make sure that we abide by the procedures and the rules to instill good governance. Yeah? And then more focus on efficiency and sustainability in the year of 2014 onwards, where a very important framework, yeah, incentive-based regulation was introduced to drive cost efficiency further, yeah, and ensure financial sustainability. Yeah, the keyword here is financial sustainability, because no more that we do not ask money from the government anymore. Before, government was supporting in a lot of infrastructure work, but since IBR, there is no more support from the government. It's all business, make sure that we are efficient and able to raise financing on our own. And moving forwards, as we are in the world today, 2020s and above, it's about energy transition. Yeah, the buzzword is ET, and the buzzword is energy transition, decarbonization, and all. Yeah, so that's where we are today. And with the evolution of the decades of the focus, that's where we also see the energy market structure in Malaysia evolves, yeah, from a straight line of vertically integrated utility of VIU, of generation, transmission, distribution. We move into the competition in the generation sector. Yeah, the introduction of independent power producers. Yeah, resulted in stiff competition in the generation business. Yeah, so TNB is not anymore automatically given the rights to build power plant. We have to compete with IPP to offer the best rates, and that brings about good cost efficiency lah, yeah, to the generation business. That's in the 1993s. Yeah, and then moving on in the, well, although it said 2014 here, but it starts much earlier. There's this reform called MESI Reform 1.0, yeah, where in the MESI Reform 1.0, we introduced the incentive-based regulation framework, the IBR that I mentioned just now. And that's where our grid businesses, our grid and retail business are under the IBR framework, where the tariff rate and the capital allowance are determined by the regulator, and they need to operate within certain envelope. And that's also where the single buyer agri system operator, ring fence outside of Tenaga, was introduced. There was perception that whenever regulation, IPP was operating, they are not being dispatched by the grid because the grid is within Tenaga before that. So by putting it outside Tenaga, being ring fenced outside of the group, so we kill the perception that it is biased towards Tenaga, towards TNB. So that's in 2014, and now in 2020 and onwards, we are also in the era of MESI 2.0 reform, where a lot of liberalization are being talked about, and it is an ongoing process. But what we can see today is there's a distinction between grid and distribution network and TNB retail, where in the future there might be more retailers in the retail business area. Yeah, so these are the evolution that we can see in the Malaysian electricity supply industry. I'll take a break here, a little bit heavy. Is there any discussion, any thoughts that you want to bring from your place, or anything that you want to ask?
Hello.
Yes.
Good night, Mr. My name is Rosie. I'm from Energy Management. I want to ask about you said about the future franchise retailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what is the condition that must be established before Malaysia can reach or can successful introduce these future franchise retailers? Because I'm from BMN also. We are also the single company that do the retail about electricity. So I thought this was interesting. Thank you. Is it clear?
Okay.
What my question is?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, thank you.
I'll try to answer that a little bit later because I have a slide which talk a little bit more about this when we talk about the solution that we can see in the future. So let me park that question first, and we'll talk a little bit more on that towards the end of the presentation. Yeah.
Okay, tak apa.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll park that question for a while. So we've talked about this. The MESI structure today is still under fuel supply. Start from the fuel supply. The gas is all power plants buy their gas from Petronas, and power plants also have the ability to buy direct from gas supplier because there's this mechanism of third-party access. They're already in place, so they can buy from any gas supplier, either from Qatar, from Abu Dhabi, whatever. And we have our regasification terminal that they can use as third-party access and bring to their power plant. So this is in place. Coal is, there's one single entity that do the aggregator and purchasing of coal. This is to ensure that we have the best pricing lah. Malaysia today buys in average about 36 million tons of coal every year, about 36 to 40 million tons a year. And I think most of it comes from Indonesia lah. More than 60% of our coal is from Indonesia. Yeah. Fuel supply is supplied to the TNB generation or IPP plants, go into Singapore system operator, and then there's grid, DN, and retail. Yeah, I think we are aware of this. Okay. Now, let's see on the mega trends that what are the challenges that we are facing today. I think I do not want to introduce something new. It's the same mega trends that have been talked about for quite some time already. Yeah, the 3Ds: decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. Yeah, I think we are all aware of these 3Ds. The push for lower carbon, yeah, decarbonization, the push for decentralizing, not from just a selected few power plants, but from all homes. Yeah? All areas can also produce electricity. Yeah, from there's this new term called prosumer, right? Not only consume but also producing electricity. So the prosumer can generate electricity from anywhere. So it's being then decentralized. And digitalization, as we know it, AI, digitalization, data has bring about significant change to the industry. And all these 3Ds is happening at an era today where the demand for electricity continues to rise exponentially. We were not in this realization that the demand could rise this fast. Yeah? But with the hyperscalers, data center demand, the rise of demand continues to surprise us. Yeah, it has been very, very fast, especially here in Malaysia, where data center keeps on mushrooming, yeah, keeps on coming in. So we have to address 3D while also ensuring that we can meet the demand for electricity. So what's our response then? How can we address this? But before that, I just would like to check with all of you. Do you relate to this 3D? And which one do you think is the most imminent challenge, the hardest challenge to overcome? If anyone would like to offer their thoughts. Any volunteers?
Yeah, well, I think decarbonization, sir, is hard to reduce more because of, yeah, in case we already built something or we build renewable energy and so on, but we still rely on fossil fuel, especially in the countries that have so many resources of fossil fuel.
Yep, spot on there. Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the push for decarbonization, but then we are also, relying a lot on our traditional fossil fuel. So yeah, spot on. I think that's where a lot of countries are facing the biggest challenge. And we have seen countries like the US have made a U-turn, yeah, from focusing on decarbonization. Now they are sort of a climate deniers, can? So definitely one of the most challenging issues of our times is climate change. The global commitment in 2015, the whole world has agreed to reduce GHG emission, yeah, by 2 degrees Celsius. But what we can see today, nothing is happening at a pace that is needed to curb the climate, the temperature increase, right? 196 countries, including the developed countries, but the actions taken doesn't reflect the realities that we are having today. Yeah? When I was at the ministry, I had the opportunity to serve for the Minister of Environment, and every year we attend the COP meetings, and every year a lot of promises are being thrown during the COP meetings. But when everyone goes back, it's back to square one, right? So definitely it's a very important area, but not enough attention are being put. And when we want to put more attention, that's the concern that was raised just now. Yeah, what will happen to our traditional fuel, traditional plant? Will there be stranded asset and so on? So no answer to this, but something that we need to always address. Yeah, I've mentioned about rising electricity demand, and in Malaysia, data center is becoming the biggest demand, demand for energy. As it is, as of March, we have already allocated 4.46 gigawatt of electricity just for data center. And if you know Malaysia's peak demand, it's about 21 gigawatt. So 20% of our peak demand is already from data center today, and it's only growing. Yeah, as it is today, there are still plants under construction, and the electricity supply agreement has been signed. And in the next 5 years or so, we will expect about 8.3 gigawatt of data center to be on stream, and this will approximately 40% of Malaysia's Peninsular Malaysia's electricity demand will go to data center. So again, something that is alarming. We need to meet the demand that is being put, but also we have to be cautious of the effect of this, right? So if I can summarize all this into what it means for utilities. Number one, if we think about, again, anchor your mind on the electricity value chain. Yeah, the generation side, the fuel side will face, as our friend mentioned just now, carbon fuel competition risk. We have there's the risk of asset being stranded, yeah, because RE is coming in, but RE also needs conventional plant to stand by. So there's a lot of risk there of stranded assets. Grid pressure with the widespread of intermittent RE, yeah, from solar, intermittent C is an issue. So the grid needs to be more smarter, intelligent to address all these challenges. Number three, customer preferences that was brought about by digitalization. Yeah, so customer would like choices, would like options, and this gives us a little bit of more headache at night, where competitiveness is getting more and more stiffer. And of course, financiers, bankers, they do not just give funding. Yeah, all of this needs funding, but they don't give funding to people who have coal assets, or they give funding but at a higher rate. So it's a very complex situation where we need money, we need funding to invest to make our system able to cope to the demand, but bankers and financiers are giving all this high expectation because of the portfolio that we have on coal and gas. Yeah, so those are the challenges, if I can put it simply in this one slide. So what is our action then? What can we do, or what can we attempt to do. There's this person from US, everyone knows him, Barack Obama, said that we are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change and the last generation who can do something about it before it's too late. If we do not act now, the temperature will keep on rising and we'll feel the effect on heat wave, on lives, on livestock, on crops, a lot of effect that will make lives more and more difficult. So when I say last generation, I'm looking at myself. I think my generation is perhaps the generation that needs to act. And I think you're the younger generation here. You have to follow through with a lot of this. Yeah, we need to do this together for the next generation to enjoy lives on this planet. Okay. Some options that we have, some solution, not say solutions lah, yeah, but things that we need to think about to address all this. We have to, number one, in terms of generation and fuel, again, think about the value chain. We have to diversify fuel, yeah, diversify suppliers, diversify our fuel mix, think about all options that are available. Number two, we have to ensure that we are connected in terms of our grid, in terms of regional. Remember just now I talked about ASEAN, the table of where are the highest hydro, where is the most suitable for solar. So different countries has its different strength. So we need to harness strength of each other and get ourselves connected, yeah, and be more smarter in this. Number three, electrification is real. Data center is coming. A lot of our mobility, our car, our trains, our vehicles are electrified. So we need to ensure that we do not stop this. Yeah, we have to harness and empower electrification more and more in a way that is, it has to be efficient, but at the same time, it has to be celebrated. Yeah. And number four, in terms of market and regulatory reform, schemes have to be in place, incentives have to be in place in order to enable the 1, 2, 3 to move. Yeah. So facilitative market and regulatory reform needs to be in place to allow 1, 2, 3 to happen. I'll talk about how Malaysia is doing this in the next few slides. I have about, let me check the time, about 15 more minutes. Let me try to finish this as quick as I can. So how do Malaysia sees this? Okay, Malaysia tries to react by launching a very ambitious roadmap, I can say, yeah. It's the National Energy Transition Roadmap, yeah. In 2023, this was launched, where it's very clear that we want to achieve the main goal, 70% renewables by 2050, yeah, 70% renewables from 26% that we are today. And 6 areas that we're looking into is energy efficiency. Most people say this is the first fuel. Okay, before we look into other fuel sources, we must talk about energy efficiency. We must make our system more and more efficient. So that's the first fuel. And that's one of the 6 levers that we are talking about. Number 1, energy efficiency. Number 2, renewable energy, be it solar, be it wind, be it whatever. Yeah, all RE has to be looked into. Number 3, hydrogen. Yeah, this is on the molecule play. Yeah, we have to ensure that we have this hydrogen market, hydrogen economy, where we could use this for, one is for power generation, number 2 is for mobility. So these are options that we need to be always on the table. Number 4, bioenergy, yeah, from crops and all. Number 5, green mobility, ensuring that our transport is more efficient using electricity. And number 6 is carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Yeah, CCUS is something that we feel in Malaysia is very necessary, because we cannot do away without gas. Yeah, for the next foreseeable future, gas is still very, very important. And the only way we can use gas in a clean manner is by combining it with CCUS. So CCUS, we believe, is a very, very important enabler to achieve our net zero target of 2050. Yeah. So this is at the national level for Malaysia. And for TNB, we've also moved together with the country. We've launched our road to net zero, where we started our energy transition started early in 2016, but we've only announced and launched this in 2022. Yeah, we have our decadal targets by 2025, 2035, and 2050 to achieve net zero and coal free. Our aim is by 2044 will be our last coal plant. Yeah, no more coal plant from 2044 onwards. So there's no choice. We still have to rely coal for today until the next 15 years. But 2044 onward is coal phase out for us. Yeah. Okay, that's the aspiration that we have. Yeah. And we are not only talking about aspiration, we are talking about plans. Yeah, we're talking about how are we going to achieve that. And again, I come back to the view in terms of value chain. A is on generation, B is on the grid network, C is on the retail customer. Yeah. A, we want to focus on accelerating generation decarbonization. Coal plants, we have to decarbonize coal plants as best as we can. Deploy RE at scale, yeah, be it hydro, floating solar, pump hydro, whatever that we can, yeah. Invest in clean technology and expand RE not only in Malaysia but also in other countries across the region and other markets. And B, I mentioned this also, cross-border, very important, and also battery storage. Yeah, so these are things that are critical to allow intermittent RE to spur our system more and more. And C, empower cross-sector electrification, continue to electrify mobility, support rapid center growth, support hydrogen economy, and prosumers punya option and solutions. I'll quickly talk about A, B, and C in the next slide. Yeah. A, how are we going to do A? Okay. In terms of accelerating generation decarbonization, Tenaga, we're looking into it in two lens. Yeah, two lens. One is the clean energy lens. In number two is decarbonizing. Yeah. In clean energy, we are looking into all options: solar farm, nuclear. Yeah, we are seriously looking into nuclear, wind farm, but wind farm not so much in the peninsula, more on our international businesses. We look into offshore winds and also battery energy supply system. And another part of it is of course our hydro, yeah, large and mini hydro. And large and mini hydro can be broken into hydro energy storage system, yeah, pump hydro system, where we can have a longer duration storage. And we also use our hydro, the dams for our hydro as a floating solar sites. Yeah, because of the land scarcity, we are also looking into more and more of our hydro dam to become floating solar. Yeah, and this is very important so that this is where we can produce electricity cheaply. Yeah, hopefully cheaply, and so that this is where hydrogen production from green sources can be a reality. Today, hydrogen production is still very expensive, and by bringing down the cost of RE, can only the hydrogen production be kept lower. So that's one part. Another part, decarbonization from whatever carbon-based system that we have today. We have to use either post-combustion system, yeah, I talked about this, CCUS, or pre-combustion, whereby before we burn the coal or gas, we co-fire it with ammonia or biomass, yeah, co-fire the coal plant, and also slowly, gradually repowering our coal plant into gas CCGT plants, yeah. And together with that, the hydrogen is produced can also be used in the CCGT plant. So that's where we are looking at a lot of things and a lot of interest, and we are actively pursuing all this at the moment. In terms of grid, our system, someone asked about Trilemma. in terms of reliability, we are very good because our focus for the longest time have always been on reliability. So our system minute is very, very good at 0.07 minutes per year. And that's catering for almost 30,000 kilometers of lines. Yeah, so that's, I think, very respectable lah. Yeah, very low outage for a very long transmission line. In terms of our distribution network, again, our SAIDI is better than world benchmark, and that's also a proud punya reliability benchmark. But that's not enough. What we need is, macam tadi, the trilemma, again, I have to bring the trilemma, anchor our mind on it. It has to be sustainable. And to our mind in Tenaga, at least, I think we think it's very important to have this ASEAN interconnection, where the strength of other countries are shared across. Kan? We know the countries in the northern ASEAN have good RE just now. There's plan to build more transmission. This is the red one is the proposed connection. This is an interesting one. We're from Vietnam. We are talking about building a undersea cable to Peninsula Malaysia. Yeah, undersea cable, and then to Singapore. Yeah, support each other. And also from Peninsula Malaysia to Sarawak, about 700 kilometers of undersea cable. Those are things that we are exploring. Economics is not that great, but yeah, we have to always consider and look at how we can make this happen. In terms of retail customer just now, the third part, our customer, we have to make sure that they are 99, electricity is always on whenever they need it, but the demand that is coming in from data center, we have to make sure that we can also cater for that at a affordable cost, at a sustainable sources, from sustainable sources and good reliability. So those are the things that we need to always cater and ensure that we can deliver. I talked about another tadi, A, B, C, and D is on the reform, the market reform. So today, as we can remember just now, we are very much a one-way street punya system where it goes from fuel to generation to transmission, distribution, retail, customer. Yeah, the flow of energy is very much one way. Yeah, and now with 3D, this chart doesn't show justice, but it's actually very much complicated. Yeah, it's very much a two-way flow. Not only power is produced from the generation side, but power can also be produced from consumer with self-generation, batteries, and whatever. Okay? So very important that the system able to cater this, and so this is where market reform is important. So to answer the question just now on market reform, how do we ensure retail can accept more independent retailers? Kan? First of all, it needs to ensure that our billing system, the electricity tariff, is unbundled. Now, before this, before 2025, in Malaysia, I'm talking from the perspective of Malaysia, electricity is very much volumetric tariff. You use more, you pay more, right? The tariff goes up when you, depending on the tiers. So it's very much bundled. In order to have a more liberalized retail market, it needs to have a cost-reflective tariff. There's no cross subsidies between network to retail to generation or whatever. It has to be specific. No cross subsidy, no transfer of cost. So Malaysia has moved into that. The tariff has been more cross-reflective. But we are not there yet. There's still phases that we need to go through to be fully cost-reflective. So I think to answer your question just now on retail, that one is the prerequirement to ensure that our tariff is completely cost-reflective. So unless and until that is done, I think retail has to be very much governed under regulated punya system. And from this MESI chart, what I wanted to show is that the value chain is changing. It's changing fast. Gone are the day that there's only one generation. Now TNB, there's no IPP, and there are also when there's market, there are going to be merchant generators and international generators from cross borders. Yeah, we have a lot of market, capacity market, energy market, ancillary market, and we will have other system or mechanism that allow RE exchange and power exchange across borders. Yeah, single buyer and GSO, the grid system operator, will be completely outside of Tenaga, and we need to allow ASEAN power grid, and sooner or later the retail and customer will have more choices on the selection. So although that's not our preferred move towards a fully liberalized, but I think we need to be ready, and we need to show that we are Tenaga is the most efficient lah. Yeah, so that's very important to show that we are the most efficient. So even if there's a market in the retail, people will still choose TNB. Yeah. So just let me finish as a closing. It's already 8:58. Sorry for taking a little bit more time. Three things I want to impart as takeaways. Number one, the value chain is only as strong as the weakest link. There's no way that we can only address one part of the value chain. We have to address the whole value chain, yeah, from generation to the network and retail. Yeah, we cannot touch only one part. It has to be holistic. Yeah. Number two, nation transition is real. Yeah, we have reached so far, I think, quite good in terms of RE at 26%, but now is the hard part moving forward. Yeah, it's going to be more difficult. Prices are going higher. The land to build solar is getting scarcer and scarcer. Yeah, difficult to find land. So it's going to be more difficult going forward. Number three, again, I'm going back to this. We need to always have in the back of our mind the energy trilemma balancing. Yeah. Now they say trilemma, but more and more we are also hearing about energy quadrilemma. Yeah, where national prosperity, economic prosperity is also thrown into the equation. So we need to always balance and ensure that all aspects are being handled and taken care of, yeah, fairly. So I think that is what I wanted to share tonight. I open this, if we can, like 5 minutes or so for any questions or discussion. Feel free to throw your questions.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Cik Faiz. Okay, I have one question related to Megatrend, which is we have the decarbonisation, decentralisation, and also digitalisation, right? So I'm curious about decentralisation, because we can see the effort and also many initiatives and also strategies towards decarbonisation and also digitalisation. Please correct me if I am wrong. But so far, I'm not sure about the strategies and also the effort taken by TNB on the decentralisation. Is it any initiative on that?
Sorry, the question was strategy on digitalization or decentralization?
Decentralization.
Decentralization.
Or localize. It's more on localizing the grid, right?
Localizing the grid and also decentralizing of the every houses can become producer and prosumer, can decentralize. So in that sense, we have our strategy in terms of we are offering also our business through our subsidiaries to capture the rooftop solar business. Yeah, so that's a strategy on the business side. Yeah, to capture the decentralization of RE from houses, industries, commercial buildings, and all. Yeah, to put solar on rooftops. But if your question is on the local grid, at the moment we are there is some pilots being conducted with under CREAM. We are also looking into not per se local grid, but CREAM is also looking into supplying within the vicinity of the locality, kan? So that's part of decentralization strategy that we are looking into lah.
Okay. But because we can see the decarbonization is actually being supported by not only by TMB, right? We can see all over all the companies, nations supporting this decarbonization and digitalization. Same goes with digitalization, right? But we cannot see the decentralization. We cannot see how decentralization being actively promoted in Malaysia. Is it like this? This is actually based on my observation and also my opinion.
Okay. Maybe there's a little bit of I have to clarify myself. When I say decentralizing, again, I have to stress that it's about making our consumers as producers, prosumers, meaning they produce and they consume. So decentralization meaning every houses, not every houses, most houses, community areas, buildings, commercial shop lots can become producers. So it's decentralized, and not anymore a centralized power plant that produce electricity. So it's just decentralized anywhere. So in that front, I think many of Malaysian companies are already on that path. Either offering their expertise as rooftop solar installer and offering businesses, or taking up this under the government's NEM scheme to install solar panels on their rooftops. So in that sense, I think it's already very much taken up actively by Malaysian companies and individuals. Decentralization in that sense. So I think in my focus is more on that one on that decentralization.
Okay. Thank you, Encik Faiz. Thank you for the explanation.
Any more questions from my ESCM class? Or any other participants?
Okay, one more thing. Sorry. Is it any? Okay. So one more question, Encik Faiz. I'm Hasnaizan. I want to know. I'm still focusing on the decentralization because I'm very interested in this megatrend. Is it we just only focusing on solar? Because since Japan, we can see that they are using fuel cell, right?
Did you say fuel cell?
Yeah, fuel cell, if I'm not mistaken. And also for decentralization, let's say for example, utilizing the grid. So is it any initiative that IPP can build their own mini grid? Let's say for example, as Kuala High-Tech or where
Jay, your voice is quite low.
Oh, okay, sorry. So is it any other IPPs that they built up their own mini grid? Let's say for example as Kulim High-Tech in Kulim High-Tech Gebang. Is it any other new project regarding this decentralization or localize the grid?
Okay. On the first part of your question, regarding other than solar, admittedly, memang we are focused now more on solar because of the trend of the pricing, which goes down very rapidly for solar. So naturally, we look at solar lah, because the demand is high there.
Yeah.
But we still have a few pilot projects. Is still not yet that commercial in a commercial sense on hydrogen and fuel cell.
Yeah.
Especially from our research arms lah, looking into some pilot projects. But hydrogen and fuel cell in Peninsular Malaysia still not that great, because the cost of electricity, yes, it's not that great. So Sarawak is championing this in Malaysia. Sarawak is championing this, so because of their cheaper cost of electricity lah, so that's on that part. On the localized grid, Kulim has its own, and it has memang ada long term concessionaire where Kulim High Tech and Nur Power can operate their own grid. So that's already there. For malls like Mid Valley and all, they also have their own grid system. KLIA, they therefore all have their own. So small pockets of areas already in place. But then TMB as a business entity, we do not encourage so much of this. Why? Because one, even Nur Power, when they have their own grid, they can, they cater for their customer. But when they have problem, TMB has to come in and support and back up. So we have to plan. No matter what, we have to plan for them. Although they are not, our customer. So we are not preaching for this. We are only supporting localized grid when it's very, very remote, like Pulau Perhentian, Pulau Redang. Then that's okay. But for other places, we only, as much as possible, we don't need sangat lah. We don't encourage that much. Yeah.
Because for me, the decentralization is good because we can avoid the energy loss, right? So in part of the energy pyramid, for example, the energy conservation. So if we can avoid energy loss, so maybe we can support that the foundation of energy pyramid.
Understand.
Okay, thank you, Cik Faiz.
Okay, thank you, Mohd.
So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I have one question. So in the first slide, you say or you explain about the energy trilemma, which is the security, sustainability, and affordability. So far, I know for the development renewable energy is needs a high or huge initial capital investment. In particularly in sustainability, also in the security. So, in your opinion, or based on your background, how is the NB approach to achieve that security, achieve that sustainability without compromising the quality and affordability? So, in terms of development renewable energy, all the society in Malaysia can achieve affordable price for the electricity, while TNB provide the sustainability, also the security in terms of supply chain management. Are you partnering with the government or other company for looking a lower price for raw material, or you have a specific strategy to achieve that security, that affordability, and also the sustainability? Thank you.
Very difficult question. Again, when balancing two sides, it's a little bit easier, but when balancing three different objectives, always tricky. But we've seen that, just take example of solar lah. 10 years ago, we cannot balance solar. The price is just too high. We can get sustainability and but we cannot get affordability. Solar. But then the price today has allowed affordability to come into the picture, because solar prices has gone down tremendously. But that doesn't completely solve the issue of reliability. And that's where we are today, where we see battery coming in. When battery comes in, that's where the equation is complete. Yeah, we can address the three elements at the same time. So I think it's about timing to answer your question. 10 years ago, no, we couldn't balance, but today as we see it, and if battery prices keeps on coming down, that balance will be even more easier to manage lah. But yeah, I think it's about timing, it's about maturity of technology, and that's where we TMB plays the strategy of always having our foot on the door lah, yeah, to take opportunity of any development of technology that is happening. Yeah, so I hope that answers lah.
Okay, thank you. Can I interrupt, Faiz? Just a little announcement that asking the participant to scan for attendance, because I think half have not yet scanned the attendance. Thank you. Okay, anyone else have any further questions?
Assalamualaikum. I'm sorry, I have a question about the as Indonesian. Before we starting the net zero emission target, we already have a project, 35 gigawatts power plant, but in fact it have a mismatch developed. So my question is how to fix and reduce the risks of develop when we create or have a project for this net zero emission for the power plant project.
So you mentioned 35 gigawatt?
Yeah, in Indonesia,
so big. Okay.
This is experience have a mismatch from the regulatory making oversupply not very much, but have causing delay for the project and other things. So what's your suggestion for the next project for net zero emission? We can reduce the risks for develop of this new project of net zero emission in terms of regulatory.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the question. No easy answer. But I think it's very important to have, like in Malaysia, what we always try to promote is a whole of nation approach lah. Because if Tenaga only has a vision, has a plan to do something, but there's no support from regulator, from the ministry, it would not happen, right? So it also needs to have support from vendors, from suppliers. So everyone has to have the same, not the same, similar objectives lah. Yeah. So I think engagement is very, very critical to get everyone on the same similar objectives. The market condition has to be favorable so that financing investors, bankers are willing to give better rates. That's very important for project to fly. Financing portion is very important. Education institution, very important. Uplift the capabilities, like Unit 10 and all, ILSAS, very, very critical, so that people are ready. Sometimes we have projects, but the capability is not there yet. Say nuclear, we want to do some studies on nuclear, but there's no specific capabilities on nuclear safety or nuclear safety assessment. So a lot of these things have to be in place, right? So in Malaysia, we have this Majlis Tenaga Negara, MTN, where the government through the ministry brings about various ministries, agencies, companies, corporates, to sit together, every few months to talk about this. Important, I think, before even starting the project, the engagement and discussion have to be in place first lah, yeah, so that we don't quickly jump into a project and makes it more costly if something doesn't happen to plan. So that's my quick response to that.
Faiz, is it one more question before we do the closing?
Okay.
One final question, anyone?
Yeah, I have a question, sir. So what do you think about the data center growing fast in Malaysia, and on the other hand, Singapore is already moratorium, I think, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, moratorium about the data center plan. So today, so many data center will build in Johor, if I know, but we have another problem like environment, water, and then some of citizen is disagree about the plan to build the data center. But in the electricity, I think this is a good opportunity to get a huge of demand. If we can build one data center, I think it's like we can manage one cities. But what do you think about this? Do you agree if we have to welcoming the data center built in our countries, or do you have any opinion? Thank you.
Very interesting question, because it's a question that I also keep on asking myself, what should be the right approach? Yeah, as you mentioned, Singapore used to welcome a lot of data center. In 2019, if I'm not mistaken, they introduced that moratorium, and then they lifted the moratorium lah, subsequently 2022, 2023 or something like that. So I think in Malaysia we have to be cautious. We welcome AI data center and hyperscalers, which could bring about good good quality data centers lah, yeah, because those which are efficient, the PUE, the power usage, the PUE is very good, water usage is good. We welcome those, and under our Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, MITI, MITI spearhead an data center committee, where any proposals from any data center who wants to build a data center needs to be approved by that committee. In the years before, the approval has been quite simple, but now the committee has taken a little bit more scrutiny. They are being more stricter in the types of data center that they approve. So in Malaysia, we don't take that moratorium route, but we are taking the route of making a little bit more careful selection of the type of data center that we allow. Maybe in the past 1-2 years, a little bit easier, but going forward, MITI is getting this tighter punya scrutiny and filtering before allowing any data center. So that's a way that Malaysia is doing to hopefully we can get only the good quality data centers in the country. Yeah. But personally, I think there should be a certain limit, because if it's too much, then the normal rakyat will suffer because of the high price and all. So there needs to be some limit to it. Perhaps not yet now, but in the future, in the next 1 or 2 years, there needs to be some thinking on moratorium and limits lah. Yeah. Yeah, that's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can I add? Sorry for the realize for the demand for the data center. How much you rate the TNB level for the readiness for serve the data center in Malaysia in terms of supply chain, because if the system is not ready to serve the data center, it will disrupt a whole system and the grid. So how much you rate the TNB level from 1 to 10? Readiness for the serving the data center. Thank you.
I've shown I showed a slide earlier. Data center capacity in nation now is about, let me just pull it out again, about 4.5 gigawatt now. We are able to take up to 8 gigawatt without any problem lah at the moment. So in terms of readiness, we are okay. We can double the demand from what we have today. But after that, we need to do a lot of grid upgrades and enhancement lah to accept more demand. But for today, we can accept up to about 8 gigawatts of data center. Yeah.
So for short-term demand, you consider TNB is ready, right?
For the short term, we are ready for the demand that is have been put in place today. Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
and we have a green lane.
Yeah.
We have a special scheme, the green lane, where we supply at a faster punya rate, but with a higher premium lah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think that is the final question. Now it's already quite late. So as we come to the end of today's session, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to IR Muhammad Faiz for generously sharing his knowledge, professional experiences, and valuable insights with us this evening. And on behalf of the Energy Supply Chain Management course, the Master of Energy Management Program, and the Graduate Activity Club, thank you to all participants for joining us and for your active participation throughout the session.